Welcome back to Laconia Concepts, guys. So as promised, I said I was going to get in a little bit more of an in-depth look at the Aqua Quest Safari 10x10 or 3x3, depending on which country you're in. Tarp. It's one of their medium weight tarps. So they have the Defender, which is their kind of tried and true, super bomb proof. They have their Guide series, which is their ultra light. And there's very subtle differences between all of them. And then there's the Safari with their new and improved bag, which I really like the design of. But yeah, so I wanted to kind of give you an idea of what you're working with that. It comes in at like roughly 1.5 pounds for a 10x10, which is not bad. It's not the lightest out there, but I wanted some durability, but also have the flexibility of a 10x10. So I'm gonna get this opened up, and then we'll go over some of the specs, and then you'll get a sneak peek of, I've already set up here, but my hammock set up and a couple goodies in there. So I'll see you in a bit. All right, so as you can see, I got my little hammock A-frame set up with a sort of a porch, and I'm just using some trekking poles to prop up those corners, because I got limited tie-off options for higher trees except for the ones I'm using for the hammock. But yeah, so a little bit about the tarp. It uses the same 70D nylon as the Defender series, but what's neat about it is they use some lighter weight coatings, and that saves on the weight greatly. Some cool things to note: what Aqua Quest is famous for is the super reinforced corners, all the additional tie outs. So you got lots of different options. And another neat thing is kind of the incorporated ridge line. So if you want to put a ton of tension on that, it's got that reinforcement. All seams are taped. It's a ripstop construction. See if I can get that to focus. And yeah, so far, I mean, I've tried it in a couple rains. It's everything they claim it is. Waterproof. It covers the hammock perfectly with a nice little porch, like I said. So that's cool. And one other thing that I purchased with it, because it doesn't come with guidelines like some tarps do. I've got a Snugpak all-weather shelter that came with some paracord, but paracord gets weighty, and when you're carrying a lot of it and you're carrying a lot of stuff, I do some trips with some elevation. See if I can get that to focus here. So this paracord is like I said before, is like kind of inner 3-strand, and it's got this little reflective, let's see if I can get it to focus. It's got a little reflective thread in there. So and the reason I went with that was partially, like I said, it's 3 strands, which is they claim 200-pound test, but the reflective, it's really skinny, and so I wanted, like, if I get out of bed at night or something and I have a headlamp on, I wanted it to reflect. So I'm trying it out. It seems pretty strong. It's a lot lighter. I mean, I can carry 3 times as much of this stuff that I could paracord, and it's doing the job. So we'll see how that lasts. But so that's kind of my initial impressions of the Aqua Quest. Like I said, it's really, really waterproof. I haven't been able to, with the northwest rains, make it drip. So we'll continue to test that and see how it goes. But let's take a little sneak peek inside the setup and check out my hammock. All right, so I want to take you a little run through. This underquilt here is actually Snugpak's jungle blanket, and I did a few modifications to it. So one of the things I did was added on these paracord poles every, I don't know, what, about 9 inches or so, and they go all the way down. And then on 3 sides, so I've got one open end here, but on 3 sides added a zipper full length down. And I kind of wanted a multi-use item, so what this does is the zipper is here, I'll show it to you actually. The zipper is a double pull zipper, so on this side it completely opens up. If I zip the bottom zip and then the top zip, I can unzip as well. And now if I thread it through, so what I did is I got this shock cord and I thread it through all those paracord loops, and I got a Night Eyes brand. It's called, I think, a Cam Jam. And then I bought this shock cord and I ran shock cord lengths through it. What's cool about the Cam Jam is you can just just pull through that little gear and change the tension. And so what I did is pull the other side through, and I got these ITW toggles, and I tied that on the other end, and that allowed me to pull the tensioned end through, and then I pulled the other end through all the paracord loops on the other side to kind of bundle up the side. And I did the same thing on this side, the open end. So they're all, the pull through end of the Cam Jam is that bundle. And I can use it as an underquilt. I can pull the shock cord and use it as a sleeping bag. And then I can also just use it as unzip it all and use it as a traditional blanket. So it's 3 uses for me. I primarily hammock camp, so it lives kind of in this configuration. And I know they make an underquilt, but for me, I really like the square if I unzip it and use it as a blanket. And the dedicated Snugpak underquilt is kind of a weird shape if you unzip it. So that's kind of that. The other thing about that is the jungle blanket is a little bit lighter than the underquilt. I suppose that with the stuff I added, it's probably negated the difference, but it was something I already had and I really liked it. So then the next thing I want to show you too here is just a really simple, this is the Snugpak jungle hammock. And what I had done initially when I bought it, comes with these really heavy duty but also heavy steel carabiners. I just bought some gate lock climbing rated carabiners, put those on, made it a little bit lighter. Also they're in kind of a neat green, which I really like, but you can see, I mean, those are legit carabiners. And then the last thing that I want to kind of go through with you here is a sneak peek, and I'll do dedicated reviews of all of these things, but let's see if I can get situated, sorry. Is the Snugpak Special Forces, it's a part of the system. I have the Special Forces Bivvy with half zip, and the Special Forces 1, which is like kind of like the patrol bag weight sleeping bag. So let me see if I can kind of unzip here. Sorry, I'm doing this one-handed. So you can see the Bivvy, which is super lightweight, is kind of just like a jacket, and I'm using it. A lot of people will use it on the ground, but I'm using it inside the system here because it adds a little bit of a wind block. So does the Snugpak jungle blanket, which is part of the reason why I really like this material. I think they call it Paratex Diamond or Micro or something like that. But it's an added wind block, and then it's just an added security. Here in the Pacific Northwest, like I said, everything is wet. It's a dry day, and if you look at the ground, I mean, it's just soaking wet. So it's just an added barrier for my sleep system, and it's a small weight penalty. I used to use the military modular sleep system, and that sucker is heavy. The Gore-Tex Bivvy is fantastic. It's bomb-proof, but it weighs like 2.5 pounds or so. This guy weighs like 14 ounces, so it's like nothing. The other thing that I got in here, like I said, is the center zip Special Forces sleeping bag. And I really, really like the whole appeal of this over the military sleep system that I was using was the center zip in here. So here you can kind of see, has a little flap to keep it closed if you want to, or it has kind of their, I gotta use the hand again, but it's got their kind of tear open easy open access, and it's all that center zip plus the easy open access is just perfect for hammock camping for me. I usually try to time out the last drink that I have so that I can go pee right before I go to bed, but as we all know, once you get in the warm slug bag, you don't want to get out. So yeah, so that's that. I'll give me one quick second. I'm gonna get in here and kind of show you what it looks like. All right, so as you can see, I'm in the bag. I got it zipped down right now so I can use my arms to film, but yeah, it's a nice comfy little system, and I'm actually just a little bit too warm with the sun still out. It's about 45 degrees, so I'm actually getting a little hot. I've also got my jacket on, which I may or may not take off. It depends. If I were you know, somewhere where it was a little bit colder, I'd probably leave my jacket on, but it's warm enough right now that I'd probably leave it on. Yeah, so honestly, getting into this would have been a little too hard with holding a phone, but was honestly a little bit easier with the center zip than I'm used to with the modular sleep system. So that's really cool. And like I said, it's got the, you know, kind of quick rip zippers if you need to get out quickly. The Bivvy only has a half zip, whereas the bag has a full zip, so that's a little bit more awkward because you kind of got to get your knees out. Getting out is probably going to be a little bit easier. I haven't done it in a hammock except for today, so y'all are witnessing first time kind of testing this stuff out. I've tested it on the ground. It's pretty easy, but in a hammock it's different. Yeah, so what else? Yeah, I can't imagine, man, for the size and weight, I can't imagine this getting too cold at the same rating of the patrol bag and the Gore-Tex bag. So I feel like I'm already like way too hot. And I guess the express rating for comfort is 41 degrees for the bag, and of course the Bivvy, you know, being a windbreak and keeping some warm air in is gonna add a couple degrees, but I mean, I'm like starting to sweat. So another really cool thing about this system, and like I said, I'll do in-depth reviews of each individual piece that you're seeing here. I'm just kind of giving the first little sneak peek of all this stuff set up, and then sound off in the comments down below which one you want to see first, but I'll do in-depth reviews of specifics of all these different items. But yeah, okay, so cool feature here about the way that I did this is if it got real cold, here, let me see it, I'm gonna have to reach up a little higher. If it got real cold here, I can zip this up just like the hammock cocoon, and now I've still have a layer underneath me capturing the air, but now I've got the top closed off, and so any air that would be kind of coming out the top, I've got multiple layers. Obviously right now I'm starting to sweat, so that's a little bit too hot for me, but yeah, like I said, this Bivvy is really blowing my mind. I just got this for Christmas, and wow, it's so light. It's kind of a small penalty, but for just the added comfort, and I mean, it feels like it adds a few degrees. I really like same kind of thing as with the Aqua Quest. It has tape seams. I'm gonna get that to focus. It has the easy rip zippers. It had kind of metal zipper pulls, except for the one that had the little Snugpak zipper pull, but I replaced all of them with paracord. The bag was the same. The paracord, I gutted it, and so it's a little bit lighter, but also it doesn't make that kind of like jangly sound, which annoys me. Yeah, so that's about it. Let me turn back around here. All right, so to wrap up, we got a sneak peek at the Aqua Quest 10x10 tarp, the Snugpak jungle blanket that I modified into underquilt cocoon, the Snugpak tropical hammock, and the Special Forces 1 sleeping bag with reflectotherm, and the Special Forces matching Bivvy that goes with it. Sound off down below what you want to see first, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.